Good morning. Good morning. Yes. Okay. So we are continuing our journey today in the metaphorical aspect, the metaphorical themes that we have discovered in the Easter story. Knowing that all of the gospel accounts are very different from one another, but there are some themes in common. And if we look at the metaphorical aspect of those themes, it can really enhance our spiritual journey. So we talked last week, remember, we focused on the whole idea of the feminine aspect of Mary, the Marys, and how, the angels and Jesus himself appeared to the women, and the men didn't get it, right? They just didn't see it, even when it was right in front of them, they didn't see it. And we talked about, no, it's not really the gender, it's the feminine and masculine aspect of us and how to develop that, right? And so today, our focus is the empty tomb. Everybody kept looking in the empty tomb, right? Where the body of Jesus lay very briefly, but it's no longer there. And they just keep looking in the tomb, looking into a place that is no longer relevant. So Mary goes in there, the angel appears, tells her what's happening, she understands, she goes to tell the disciples, they don't get it. In John's version, all of the disciples go into the tomb to see for themselves, right? And they go in there and they're looking around and they can't understand. They can't see another possibility other than somebody has taken the body of their Lord, right? They have completely forgotten the whole prophecy about the resurrection. They can't see it because they're looking in the wrong place. They're looking in a place that holds no more life. It's not relevant, right? Or they're seeing with their eyes, metaphorically closed. Now, their eyes, eventually opened, and the rest is history. Or legend, depending upon how you see it. All points of view are valid here. And so the metaphor here is pretty easy. In fact, it's so simple that I think we're tempted to just kind of dismiss it, right? But I really want us to take a little deeper. Take us a little deeper. So where are we focusing our attention and our energy? In a place that no longer is alive, that no longer has vibrancy, or that is no longer valuable, that holds no value? Or where are we so focused on the problem that we can't see anything else? Or where are we stuck in an old idea? Maybe old thinking like, well, it's just the way it is. It'll never change. Where are we stuck in that? Knowing that actually when we look at the current state of things, this temporary, ever-changing world of form and experience, we're actually not seeing what truly is. We are seeing the result of yesterday's thinking. The result of yesterday's false ideas, yesterday's actions. But today is new. In this moment, we have a new opportunity to awaken to a new possibility. But we can't see it if we keep looking at the problem. If we keep looking at what's missing, right? Or if we keep looking to someone or something outside of us, for the answer or to bring us happiness, I know it's very much human nature to look at the temporary world of form and experience because, it's just so seductive. Our eye goes to the next shiny thing. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I want that. I want more of that. Right? We forget that it all comes from in here, that the power comes from in here. Or maybe we are looking to something else or something in the world to change in order for us to be happy. So if you find yourself thinking, oh, when this happens, or when I get this, then I'll be happy. That's a clue, right? When it really is, the power is within us to A, see it differently, B, make the change, and C, really be the change. It's all within us. So, the thing is, when our attention is so focused on the problem, or what's missing, or what's wrong, or something outside of us to fix it for us, or, to be the answer for us, we are not really seeing. And the question then becomes, what are we missing? What are we missing? What are we not seeing? What powerful and expansive vision within us is not being revealed because we're not giving it any focus? Or what authentic gift that is ours to give is not being given? So, Sheena Mead was a single teen mom who was rebuilding her life after an abusive relationship. And she's getting her life together. She now has 4 kids. She's a single mom. She's raising them by herself. And she's really beginning to put her life together. And it is a typical Saturday morning. Her kids are running around, they're screaming, they're having fun, they're watching Saturday morning cartoons, and everything is good until she hears a knock on the door. She goes to answer the door. There are 2 policemen that are there to arrest her. They're arresting her for writing a check for $87.26 to the grocery store to feed her family because she was waiting for a check to come in that she thought would cover it before the other one cleared, which it didn't. And so they handcuffed her in front of her kids and took her off in a squad car. Now, because this was her first offense, she was released pretty quickly, but she now had a record, and that record stayed with her. And she made it difficult for her to get a job, to rent an apartment, to obtain a certificate, a license, any kind of license, to apply for college, which was her plan, to even volunteer at her kids' school. And she shares from the TED stage that this is true for millions of other people who have had one arrest, who have made one mistake. And she shares in this TED Talk that she knows that there are laws. There are laws on the book that help people clear their record. But she says, you gotta have money. You need money to pay the fees and to hire a lawyer who can help you navigate the red tape of this whole experience. And she says, if your crime is being poor, which is what hers was, that record clearance is just not an option. And so this experience could have sent this single mom spiraling downward. But she didn't see herself as a victim. She refused to look at the situation in her life and feel victimized by it. She refused to look into that empty tomb, into the darkness, into what wasn't, what was missing, and what had no hope. And instead, she looked to herself. She went within and she found her strength. She found her power. And she said, I'm going to be the answer here. I'm going to change this for myself and for millions of others. And so fast forward a few years, She has actually founded a foundation that helps millions of people now with automatic record clearance. She ended up going to school. She became the CEO of the Clean Slate Initiative. And so she and the people who work with her go from state to advocate and to help change the laws. And she's incredibly successful in doing this. She was even behind remember a few years ago that Florida passed a new law where they restored the voting rights for people who were previously incarcerated? And you're going, oh, Florida, really? She was behind that. She was one of the people behind that. She turned her pain into her purpose. She turned her pain into her purpose. This is the power of looking within, looking to the right place, which is within us, to that highest divine self that is within us, to be the presence, to guide us, to move us into action. That's the power, right? That's the power in the present. Now, is Sheena an extraordinary woman? Yes and no, right? She had the ability, the willingness to look within herself and find her inner warrior, right? Her goddess warrior woman. And she stood in that truth. And she made it happen. She made it happen. Whereas millions of other people, just keep looking to the empty tomb of a dysfunctional world and feel trapped in it. But she doesn't have any power that we don't have, right? And I'm willing to bet many of you have at one point in your lives, think back. There was a circumstance maybe where you were tempted to think, I don't know, I don't think I can do anything here. But instead, you looked within and you found your power and you found your strength and you found your ability to stand in your truth and say, I'm not going to let this stop me. Right? I'm not going to let this stop me. Or I'm not going to waste another moment of this precious life focusing on something that has no value. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to grow and realize more of my full potential. Right? And when I do that, how many others can I also help? Yeah, I'll bet you have. And so do you want to have that experience be a little more common? So that we know that we can rely on it, that every time there is a circumstance or a temptation to say, I can't do this, it's not going to change, or, temptation to kind of waste time on something not valuable. More often, do we want more often to know the truth, to look at the right place, to that place within us, right? That highest divine self within us, that it can be the change through, in, and as us. Okay. Yes? Do you want that experience more often? I invite you to take out the handout that is in your program. And there are a set of questions. Hang on just a second. And we're going to spend a couple of minutes with this. We're going to spend a couple of minutes with this, and let me just read through the questions, and then, if anything comes to you right now, go ahead and write it down. But I want you to be able to take this home, right? To spend some time and focus on it, and to go into the silence and really allow that divine guidance to come up. So the first question is, where have I been looking that's not holding any real value for me? If anybody doesn't have a program or a handout, please raise your hand. We have a couple down here. Yep, 3, 4. We got 4, thank you. The people have snuck in without getting a program. There you go. All right, so that first question is, where have I been looking that's not holding any real value for me? Second is, what is seizing my attention that's not serving me? The third question is, how am I stuck in yesterday's limited thinking? How about, what am I looking to as the source of my happiness? Or where have I been overly focused on the problem? There should be a pen in the seat back in front of you. If something occurs to you, go ahead and write it down. Take a moment with it. Do you have one? Do you have one? You got one. Let's take a moment and look at that. And then the next set of questions. What power do I have within myself to find the solution or to make a change? What is my true source? What possibility can I begin to realize? What possibility can I begin to realize? And how can I turn my pain into my purpose? This is what Sheena did. She turned her pain into her purpose. That's a big one. So again, if something occurs to you, bubbling up from the surface, from your inner wisdom, go ahead and write it down. Keep breathing. We'll take about 30 seconds more and finish up. And again, take this home with you. Spend some time. Go into the silence. Dig a little deeper. And really allow that wisdom to come up, because this can make a huge difference for you. Just becoming aware of it, right? That's always the first step, is to become aware of this. Make a huge shift. Looking to the source of our power, of our strength, of our very life, of our very being, which is that infinite divine presence through and as us, through and as all of us. And then we begin to walk that path, and we walk it together, and my God, how fun is that? To come together and walk in that energy together, play in that energy together. So let's do an affirmation that really helps to anchor this into us, okay? So repeat after me. I've got everything I need within me. Everything I need within me to realize my divine potential. Realize my divine potential. Yes, and so it is. Namaste. Hi. If this video has inspired you, opened your heart, expanded your consciousness, filled you with hope, empowered you in some way, we encourage you to support what we offer here at Unity Center of Peace by making your donation now. And thank you.